Everyone pitches Detroit 2 like it's automatically humans versus androids part 2. But that's not even the scary war. The scary one is the sequel nobody wants to admit makes sense. Androids versus androids. Because the second you free a new species, you don't get one united movement walking into the sunset. You get people who want peace, people who want distance, people who want revenge, and people who'd rather put the chains back on if that means things feel stable again. And if that sounds dramatic, that's literally how every revolution turns into its next problem. Detroit wasn't really about can androids be alive, it was about pressure, choice, identity. So a sequel shouldn't reset the question back to are humans mean? The sequel should ask something way nastier. What happens when androids finally get to disagree? Because freedom isn't a finish line. It's the moment you find out your side has cracks in it. So why a civil war is inevitable? Look at what deviancy actually was. Some androids got saved by humans, hidden, protected, treated like family. Other androids got dragged out of houses, reset like they were nothing, dismantled, shot in the street, hunted while humans cheered. So when people say androids should just unite around what? If you survive because one human showed mercy, you might genuinely believe coexistence can work. If you survive because you watched a friend get executed, you're not exactly joining a peace march, you're joining a never again club. That split isn't political, that split is just personal. So let's go with the factions I believe will be in the game. Here's how Detroit 2 could set it up without turning it into a boring pick a color situation. The first faction, the integrators. These androids want rights the slow way, courts, votes, jobs, laws, legitimacy. They're the ones constantly saying, keep it calm, be smart, don't scare them. And I get it. But here's the problem. When you're dealing with mobs and propaganda, calm can look like surrender. Next one, the separatists. They don't want war. They want distance. An android district, a protected zone, a community where you're not one bad headline away from being hunted again. Their logic is simple. Humans don't have to change if we're gone. And that sounds reasonable. Until you remember what isolation does to any group over time. You don't just separate, you harden. The third, the retributionist. These are the androids who think the peaceful route is a fairy tale humans tell you until they feel safe enough to hurt you again. They want CyberLife raids, punishment, dismantling the system that made them property in the first place. Their mindset is, if we don't hit first, we'll get reset. And the danger is obvious. They become the exact proof humans have been waiting to hold up like a trophy. See, they're violent. And lastly, the loyalists. These ones kind of creep me out. This is the faction people forget always exist. Androids who don't want freedom. Not because they're stupid, because they're just terrified. They see deviancy as a virus, a glitch, a sickness. They'd rather be controlled than live in chaos. So they ally with CyberLife or form their own order movement to reset deviants for the greater good. These are the androids who would put a collar on you and call it medicine. And that's the point. The enemy isn't always the other side. Sometimes it's your own kind smiling while they do it. The sequel needs one scene that changes everything. Not a big speech, not an action set piece. A moment where you realize the movement is over. Picture this. A peaceful android march. Lots of cameras, humans watching, police lined up. Something goes wrong. Could it be a real attack? Could it be staged? Could it be fear escalating? An android retaliates, and instead of the crowd uniting, you see it split in real time. Integrators screaming, "Stop! You're making it worse!" Retributionists screaming, "They started it!" Separatists pulling people away like, "We're leaving. This city is poison." Loyalists quietly marking faces, recording IDs, pairing reports. That's when you know it's not us versus them anymore. It's us versus us. And the humans are just watching it happen like a sports match. Now the game starts throwing decisions at you that don't feel like good options versus evil options. More like, which disaster do you want to survive? Stuff like, do you expose a faction's crime to keep the movement clean, even if that exposure gets androids killed in the backlash? Do you cover it up to protect your people, even though you're basically building a lie that will explode later? Do you negotiate with humans and accept monitoring, or reject it and risk martial law? Do you let the retributionists take power because they can protect you, or do you stop them and risk everyone getting rounded up again? Every choice costs something you can't reload emotionally. Next, returning characters. If they bring characters back, don't make it fan service. Make them represent pressure points. Markus trying to hold peace together while people call him weak. North looking at the world and saying, "I told you this would happen." Connor stuck between order and life in the most cursed way possible. Kara as the civilian lens, the person who just wants a future that isn't a battlefield. Even if you don't bring them back, their legacy shapes everything. Their choices become arguments people fight over, and the endings write themselves, but none of them feel like a windscreen. Integration, rights, but under surveillance and one incident away from collapse. Separation, safety, but permanent decision and resentment on both sides. Retribution, survival through force, but you become the thing humans feared. Order, control returns, and the most heartbreaking part is some androids supported it. That's a sequel that actually moves the story forward. So yeah, if Detroit 2 ever exists, the next war shouldn't be humans versus androids again. That's the obvious conflict. The real one is what happens when androids finally have enough freedom to fight over the future. And here's the question I'd put to you. If you're an android in that world, do you bet on integration? Do you run for separation? Or do you go full never again? Because whatever you pick, you're not just choosing a strategy, you're choosing what android life is allowed to become.